Greetings, salutations, it's me, James, your BA Sensei, back with another Power Query tutorial. In today's video, seeing that it's the end of the year, we're going to start looking at budgets once again. So the data set that I have for you over here is, we got the year, we got the product name, right? And we got the annual budget. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to take, for each product for each year, I'm going to take the annual budget, break it down for each product into its monthly budget amounts for each product for each year indicated year. Well, we're going to be using a lot of cool Power Query functions, so let me show you how to do it. All right, first thing is you click in your data set, you go to data and you say from table or range. Now this opens Power Query. So you can see by default Power Query adds a step for your change data types. I'm just going to exclude that for this example. So I'm going to start by adding a new column, and in this column I'm going to show you a very simple concept of creating a list with curly brackets. I'm going to say start at the period 1 for January up until period 12. And let's call this the monthly date. Cool. There we go. So now I created a list in each row of our data set. Let's quickly look at this list. Very simple. It's 1 to 12, 1 to 12, 1 to 12, 1 to 12. That's the basis of us creating dates. All right. So now I'm going to show you an interesting function, which is the hash date function. All right, so to illustrate the point, I'm going to quickly open a new blank query. And let's say in here, we're going to start a new list, 1 to 12 curly brackets, and say, okay. So this is a list of 12 numbers. We're going to create, let's say, List.Transform. We're going to transform this list, and we're going to say for each row in this list, take the hash date function, all right, and let's say we want to do it for 2024, that's the year, and let's say I want to take this underscore, which represents each item in this list, and the day would be 1, and I'm just going to close it out. And what this does is, this is what we're going to use. We're going to use this hash date function. All right, so that's what we're going to do in there. Now that we have this each over there, I'm going to do exactly the same thing. I'm going to say List.Transform, give it the list, and say for each date, hash date, and we're going to say, see, now we're sitting with the interesting thing, because dynamically we want to give it 2023, 2024. I'm just going to start with 2023. And I'm going to say, yeah, for each of the underscores and 1, and close it out. So what you're sitting with there is 2023. Wonderful. But you can see that's not giving us what we want, because this is 2023, this is 2024. Now we kind of hard-coded 2023 in there. To illustrate how we're going to do this, we are going to explore what it means to have an outer query and an inner query. You can see that we have 2 each statements in here. This first each statement goes through each row in this table, right? So this is the outer table. And then the second each statement actually goes into each item within the row, but each list within each row. Okay, so you can see we got 2 contexts. Each is for the main, and then this each is for the inner. In order for me to take this outer year and insert it into this inner, I need to use these eaches and kind of like give them different names. So I'm going to wrap them in brackets. I'm going to say this first each, which refers to the main table. I'm going to say main table, give it the name main table. Okay, cool. I'm like, that's wonderful. That's the first one. And the second each, I'm going to replace with, let's call this one month list. So it's basically each item in the list. I'm just going to call it month list, and we're going to close it out with the rocket hash like that. Wonderful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say this main table, I want to not hard code the date. I want to go to the main table and extract the year. So the main table is this one over here, and I'm going to say, give me the year column. All right. And then from the month list, which is only a month list, you see this underscore, I'm just going to replace with month list, which is the inner query. I'm going to say, okay. See what happens now. There we go. There's 2023. Let's look at 2024. There's 2024. Pretty cool. Okay, so the thing I want to do next is, you see this dates over here. I kind of like want it in month year format. So I want to transform this. I'm going to say, yes, so this dates over here, same date to text. I'm going to convert this date to text. And I'm going to say, make it month, month, month format, and year, 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 year. Let's quickly look at this list. There we go. Pretty cool. Now you can see it's month, year format. You can see the dates are all correct in there. All right, excellent. Now that I have that, I want to take this annual data and I want to expand the list for each month. So I can just expand this over there. So expand to new rows. You can see it basically expands it. But you can see one of the problem is it's alphanumeric. I want it to be just alphabetical. All right, so I'm going to go one step back. I don't want to add another step there to convert the data type. I'm going to go back to add column. In this M query over here at the top, I can basically say in this list what data type I want to do the conversion to. So I'm going to say, okay, type text. Right, that should do the trick. And I'd say, okay. And then the next one, it's still alphanumerical. Okay, so what you can do is, because this is a list, you can just wrap that text in curly brackets. All right, and then say, okay. And now, see, it changed that to a list icon. Now, if you look at the expanded monthly date, that is now alphabetical. Okay, so now next thing I want to do is, now this is the annual budget. I want to convert this to monthly budget. That can easily be done by going to transform and just saying standard and divide, because we know that there are 12 months in each year, so divide by 12, and that's going to divide it by. So you can see the kind of M query it creates. It uses the transform columns. It took the budget amount and it took each item in the table and divided it by 12. And it returned it as a number. And that's what we have over there. So now the next thing that I want to do, now we're basically there, but what I want to do is I want to sort this thing according to the product and to the date. So let's say sort according to that and according to the date. All right, so you can see the table sort function works something like that. But now you can already see that there's a little bit of a problem, because it's actually sorting the dates not into date format, but actually according to alphabetical. So April is first because it starts with the A. August. It's not what we want to see. So what I want to do here is, you can see the second argument for table sort. First one is correct. You can see that's for the product name. But the second one, I'm just going to delete the entire content here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say each, and I'm going to say everything in the monthly date column, which is what we want, right? But I want to convert this, because remember, it's text. I want to convert this to date. I'm going to say Date.From and refer to that. I'm going to say order ascending and wrap it up like that. And look at this. Brilliant. So now we sorted it by product name and then according to the month date. Look at that. And it's not seen as a date, it's seen as text. That is basically it. Now let's go home and say close and load back into Excel, and there we go. There we go. There's your result table. Well, isn't that cool? So I hope that opened your eyes to the power of lists and doing simple conversions within lists and expanding a list into a table. Well, BA Sensei signing out.